This episode is brought to you by Bumble, who says Valentine's Day is just for couples. Just because you're not in a relationship doesn't mean you can't get out there and live your best love life. That's where Bumble comes in. This February 14th, you can flip the script and give those relationshipers a friendly dose of FOMO. Say no to staying in this Valentine's Day and yes to more. More dates, more first kisses, more gossip for the group chat girlies. Do Valentine's your way. Date now on Bumble.
Hi, friends. The world got you down. Don't be sad. Listen to $2 Late Fee with Zach and Dustin.
$2 Late Fee is the podcast that celebrates the best decade of entertainment, the 1980s. We pick a movie and soundtrack from our youth that we loved and see if it holds up today. We also interview your favorite celebrities from that era.
All in the spirit of positivity and togetherness. Check us out at $2latefee.com.
Let's party each and every year on Christmas Eve, where the fun and cocktail shrimp don't seem to end. Clark and Ralphie taking turns on the TV screen, laughing, singing, yelling with all of our friends. Well, it's Christmas, let the parties go spread the holiday cheer. It's Christmas. Oh, it's the best time of the year. Let's go fake reindeer and dance in the fall.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
It's Valentine's Day.
It is Valentine's
There's love
Day.
in the air.
Yay!
Thank you.
That was me.
So last year for Valentine's Day, we had my friend Heidi on, and she talked about While You Were Sleeping. And I figured,
Holy shit, that's right.
Yeah.
That was 1 year ago.
That was 1 year ago.
Oh my god.
I think that watching rom-coms, Christmas rom-coms right at Valentine's Day is a perfect tradition that I'm happy to keep going. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Just Friends.
Let's talk about a movie that I had seen clips of before.
Oh, you had never seen
and
this before?
I have seen, like, my parents absolutely adore this movie because they love Anna Faris.
Yeah.
Absolutely love Anna Faris. And I've seen most of it. I had never, ever sat down and watched this movie from beginning to end before.
So I love this movie, and for years I would frequently forget that it took place at Christmas. I just remembered it being just a rom-com.
Honestly, I think at the end of this movie, you kind of forget that it takes place at Christmas.
But
there is one bit that, like, really deals with Christmas, and that is it.
Yeah, but it's like, you know what? In the world where, like, I kind of push back a little bit on, like, the Die Hard stuff, where it's like, oh, Die Hard's like, this is more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard is to me. Like, it's still in that same vein of, like, I don't really count this as a Christmas movie, but I feel more Christmassy watching this than I do watching Die Hard.
What if I think both of them are Christmas movies?
I'm not saying Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah, and we're never going to have that debate. Do not...
Oh, no. One day. That might be the final episode.
I don't want to ever talk about
we'll end
that.
on it. Or maybe a live episode.
I will say Die Hard 2 is more of a Christmas movie
I agree
than Die Hard
100%. But so my thing with this movie is that I think it is very funny. I think that you've got a bunch of funny character actors at the peak of their popularity. You've got Ryan Reynolds when he's still not quite like the Ryan Reynolds we know today.
No.
Like, this is like...
He's still very Van Wilder.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
You've got Anna Faris just doing what Anna Faris does best.
She was great.
So good. Amy Smart at the peak of people still loving Amy Smart.
Is she still doing anything?
I don't know what she's up to.
We will get there.
Chris Klein, like, kind of playing against type in a weird way.
Yeah, because Chris Klein always was the kind of the good guy.
Yeah.
In all of these movies.
Dude, when he first shows up in the
with
flashback,
the long fucking
and he's
hair,
trying to play the guitar, and he goes, "Get it together, Rusty."
I feel like that's peak Matt Kelly. Right
Yeah,
there.
100%.
Get it together, Kelly. Get it together.
And then I always forget his name. Chris Marquette, is that it?
Yeah, Chris is it Marquette?
Marquette, whatever it is. It steals. I mean, dude had like maybe
the best part of
maybe
this.
like 2-3 years where he was popping in on a bunch of shit, and this is like him fucking crushing
Dude, he
it
steals
in this movie.
everything. He was great in this. This isn't a comedy, but he was great in Alpha Dog.
Yeah.
I loved him in Alpha Dog. Fanboys, he was amazing in. That was
Yep.
a few years after this. Like, Chris Marquette, I really hope Chris Marquette makes a comeback.
Yeah, because he was fantastic.
He was fantastic. For those of you unfamiliar with the story of Just Friends, we've got Chris Brander, played by Ryan Reynolds, who is a very heavy set high school senior, right there at their graduation day. And he is best friends with Jamie Palomino, who is Amy Smart. And he decides that at this graduation party that he shows up to, that he just thinks is going to be him
and his two best friends and her,
and the two best friends, just thinks it's going to be them. It's like a fucking rager. Like,
it's a rager party.
They're having like a surprise party.
And we've got to talk about the opening scene of this movie is iconic now.
Yes.
Of him lip singing to I Swear by All for
And
One.
I swear
And I'll tell you what, and they even end with this in the closing credits, and it's still not enough. I could watch Ryan Reynolds lip sync to that song for hours. His sincerity in his face is so fucking charming and funny. Like,
I self-admit that I get hipstery from time to time, so I'm like, ugh, it's fucking so popular. I just don't care about him anymore. Ryan Reynolds does not meet that.
No.
Ryan Reynolds is always going to be amazing. I know I'm definitely the Pokemon obsessed guy. If you haven't seen Detective Pikachu,
So good.
You gotta fucking see Detective Pikachu. Ryan Reynolds. I know Ryan Reynolds just plays Ryan Reynolds and everything, but it's good.
It's great.
It's great. That's all I want to see. So he goes there with the intention of signing Jamie's yearbook and her seeing this note where he professes his love to her. I feel like we've all been in that situation where we have members of the opposite sex or the same sex, whoever you're attracted to, that you are friends with, close with, and you feel a little stronger towards them. I hate using the term friend zone, but it's going to come up. We're gonna have to talk about it.
So here's the big debate, and I know that we're gonna get into this.
Yes,
because you have said to me now.
I slept on it. I've slept on it, so I don't want you to be like, this is what you can tell them what I said before.
Your original read of this was, this is the movie where Amy Smart isn't interested in Ryan Reynolds' character until he loses a lot of weight.
Okay,
and I think the difference is that young Ryan Reynolds, it's not about the weight. It's about the fact that she is the only thing that he has.
Yeah.
Like, he is that obsessive puppy dog that is impossible for anyone to fall in love with.
Yeah.
He does lose weight, but he loses weight and completely changes who he is and becomes overly confident. And what the movie's actually about is she doesn't want the fit, confident asshole Ryan Reynolds. She wants the guy that she remembers from high school being a little bit more independent.
It is more about you. You have just opened my eyes to this movie.
Like I think that's what it's, because she.
Yeah.
Because if it was just that she likes him because he lost weight, we wouldn't have a movie.
You're right.
But she hates who he is.
Yeah.
Like, for a large chunk of that.
I don't want to get too deep into it until we get towards the end of this podcast.
But
that's
we're
going to talk about.
But that's what I think is the misconception that, because I've heard a lot of people make that argument, and it's like, if it was just that all he needed to do was lose weight, she would have just fallen in love with him when he walked into the bar, and that would have been the end of the movie.
So, and I think one of the things is about, let's fucking talk about friend zones. To me, the friend zone of, I got put in the friend zone. I'm just this person's best friend. She doesn't want to be with me or anything. That's gross. I hate
that attitude. I think that it's not a bad thing to mentally tell yourself that you are in the friend zone.
Yeah.
Because you also don't want to only be with someone with the hope that eventually you'll get this exchange out of that relationship.
Yeah.
It's totally fine to be like, I have these feelings. They don't have those feelings. It is my job to work that out.
Come to terms with that.
Yeah.
So my problem is, my idea of the friend zone that I do think exists is, no matter what member of the sex you are, boy, girl, non-binary, whatever, is leading someone on.
Leading someone on, though, I think is different than the friend zone.
I agree.
I think you put yourself in the friend zone.
Yeah.
I think another person leads you on.
Exactly. So I want to go into this because this movie was made at a time where
they were talking about friend zones in every fucking movie and TV show.
And people just brushed it off. Where friend zone now, people are like, well, you shouldn't just like hang out with somebody because you think you're going to be able to sleep with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, that's never what the friend zone was.
It's like the nice guy cash in.
Exactly.
I've been a nice guy, so like here's all of the good things I've done for you.
Exactly.
In exchange, you need to make out with me at this party now. It's like, oh,
fucking weird. And I mean, when we were all young, we've all had feelings like that. Oh,
Yeah.
why won't they be with me?
Oh,
I'm the
that
good
was most.
guy.
Here's the thing: I am very ashamed of a lot of like high school and college, Matt, because that
same.
was my
Same.
mindset, and
Yep.
it took a lot of therapy. It took a lot
Yep.
of like working on myself to be like, that was my problem to deal with.
Yep.
That was
Yep.
not up to me to like guilt trip someone for that or bitch about that to other people. Like,
Dude, that's shit like you just said with therapy. Like,
Yeah.
I literally like had conversations about this last year.
Yeah.
Where it was like, why did this person do this? And my therapist literally looked at me and say, like, they're a person.
Yeah.
Like they make their own decisions.
They're a human.
You can't make people make the decisions you want them to make.
No. You
So,
can't. It's
that's-
tough because I mean I think a lot of us are control freaks at our core as well.
100%. Yeah.
And it's also really messy. It's
Yeah.
all really messy. And the reason
is.
I say that is like I also think of like two of my friends right now who are engaged.
Yeah.
But they started dating fresh off of the divorce,
Yeah.
and one person was absolutely ready for this to become a relationship that would lead to a marriage. And the person who's just going through the divorce is still working out a ton of shit.
Yeah.
And for a really long time, I was like, this is like, you two are perfect for each other. But if y'all don't like let each other work through the bullshit that's going
Yeah.
on in each other's brains, like you're going to fucking choke this thing out.
Yeah. Honestly, piggybacking off of that, that's amazing because I know I name drop on this podcast all the time, and we've talked about that, but I think this is an episode that like relationships have to be brought up because that's kind of what this whole movie is about, right?
Yeah.
Teddy and I started hanging out at the end of a bad breakup
Yeah.
that we've talked about. And when Teddy and I started hanging out, I was very clear, like, we can't make this commitment because I'm still working through shit.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I need to get comfortable
Yeah.
again because I didn't want to jump into something like that and then be that person who's like, I'm going to keep you over here until I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I just want to be up front. And I think, again, if they did this in movies, we wouldn't have the movie.
Yeah.
But I think if there were just conversations and communication,
Well, communication is the key thing.
any
And-
fucking rom-com wouldn't exist.
well, and this is the other thing that's like, you know, there's that aspect of like how badly does the media fuck up people's actual perception of like how
Yeah.
love is supposed to work.
Yeah.
And like the reality is like the best, healthiest marriages that I have found in my lifetime are almost always people who were friends sometimes for
Yep.
decades
Yeah.
before they ever
Yeah,
dated.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like it's like we're so inundated with this like you meet somebody,
Yep.
you fall madly in love
Yeah.
from the second you see them, and then that's the person you spend your life with. And that does happen. Like
It
if
does. It does.
if that's someone that's sitting there and you're sitting next to your husband
Yeah.
for the last like 15, 20 years, like seriously, that's beautiful and that's
Yeah.
amazing. But I've also heard just as many stories where it's like the When Harry Met Sally type
Yeah.
situation where it's like they met in college and for 10 years they watched each other date the wrong persons
Yep.
and then through random happenstance was like, oh my God, you're the person.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's,
Yeah.
and that happens. It happens a lot. There's also the element where you're single and 36 and you're just like, okay, well, like I'm ready for any of it.
I'm ready for that to happen.
Really, any of it could be great.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
No, I'm joking.
I know. I know you are.
I gotta. You know what? I'm failing a little bit on a personal goal of mine, which was to be less self-deprecating in 2022.
I think we talked about it. It came up very briefly, very small clip
Yeah.
last episode where I was like, Sad Dylan was funny.
Yeah.
But that was the same thing. Dude, it's a complete trauma response.
Yeah.
Of things that
You're
like,
protecting
we've gone
yourself
through.
from the-
exactly.
from
Like,
the
let me
emotions.
make fun of myself first before somebody else makes fun of me.
And that's been a big thing of like, there's stuff that was really traumatic for me, and your
Yeah.
defense mechanism is that you make fun of it. But it's like you can make fun of it, but you need to work through it first.
Exactly.
When you're okay with it,
Yeah.
then you can make fun of it. But all you're doing is masking it and prolonging that trauma and that hurt.
Exactly.
Man, we're getting deep on this Just Friends
we
episode.
are getting deep on this Just Friends episode. But I think if you really think about it, I think the fucking shit that happened to Ryan Reynolds in the beginning of this movie is traumatic.
It's very
That
traumatic.
is a traumatic fucking experience.
This episode is brought to you by Bumble, who says Valentine's Day is just for couples. Just because you're not in a relationship doesn't mean you can't get out there and live your best love life. That's where Bumble comes in. This February 14th, you can flip the script and give those relationshippers a friendly dose of FOMO. Say no to staying in this Valentine's Day and yes to more. More dates, more first kisses, more gossip for the group chat girlies. Do Valentine's your way. Date now on Bumble.
And that is shit that sticks with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all have moments where we have suffered embarrassment of shit that who we were in front of will never think of that shit again. But it pops up in our brains at like 1 a.m. when you go to lay down. Like, remember that fucking time I did this?
Look, we joked
dumbass
around
shit?
about this today, but that is why I go to bed listening to commentary tracks. I need my brain to focus on anything else than whatever thought it's going to pull out of the Rolodex of memories.
I get it. So I think this entire movie, it's a comedy, but it's all based around a trauma response.
It's based around a trauma response. So let's talk about
the movie.
Let's talk about the movie a little bit. So something traumatic happens to Ryan Reynolds. There is some funny stuff. I mean, the shirt that she gives
is
him,
so good.
it's so good.
So good. And that's the difference between like a character like Ryan Reynolds and a person like me, where I throw that shit on and be like, yo, check this shit out, dude. Give me
great.
a beer.
It's so good. But so she gives him this shirt. It's their faces on cats, and it's like, we're a perfect team.
Such a cute shirt. I fucking love it. Oh, they've got to sell those.
The big thing about that, though, and it is clear even in that opening scene how much Amy Smart's character loves Ryan Reynolds' character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like he thinks that he has to run away from that town, but I think that if he had stayed in that town, it would have happened eventually.
So?
You know, like I think that she genuinely had that close care for a friend that like that's the type of friendship that can one day turn into something if both of you are into it.
Now, I don't know, man, because we just talked about how like yes, Ryan Reynolds, when he came back, he was an asshole, but he did develop as a person.
He needed that separation. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
I think he still needed to get out of town because, yes, when he's out of town and when we see him in LA and he's working for Stephen Root, who's absolutely amazing in this movie as well. Yes, he's like, I don't think he comes off as like a womanizer.
No.
I think he is. He does. It brings up that he is sleeping with beautiful models and everything.
He knows
else.
that he can get laid, but it's not like he's. You know, there's even that scene where he like kind of flirts with the one girl at the ice skating rink, but you know that he's not going to actually sleep with her. He's just trying to prove a point to the other dude. Like, no, she's not with him. Watch.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
So it's kind of he walks that fine line because you can't have him be a full asshole.
Now I'm thinking about when he was in LA and he gets dumped by the girl.
Yeah.
I forgot about that part where she's like, who else are you talking to? And then like she storms off and he turns around and starts flirting with the blonde girl. So he was kind of a dick.
He's a dick.
But I don't think he was a bad person. I still don't think
I don't think he's
person.
putting on any lies or pretending to be, you know, there's no
I think he's very clear with his intentions.
Yes.
Always has been.
And I think that's the secret.
That is the secret.
It's like, if you're clear, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Like, yeah, I could never be that person that's like, hey, I just want to get some sex in.
Like, some sex. I just want to get some sex in.
But like, there are people who can do that.
Trying to slay some strange.
Yeah. We got to talk about Anna Faris playing this perfect caricature of like the Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Jessica Simpson at that time.
Definitely. Definitely. So basically, Anna Faris plays these pop stars if all of the things the paparazzi were saying were true.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And her like, so the joke is that the record company that Ryan Reynolds works for, they want her on the label. They realize that she's a free agent.
She's like
essentially
the number one star. She's
Yeah.
probably a comparison to nowadays probably Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
like
she's
that's
like a
how
T
big
Swift.
she is.
And they're like, hey, we know that you've met her before, and he's like, I went on a date and she almost stabbed me.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I really, and she's just like, oh my God, it's so great to see you.
Yeah, and then tries to blow him. Like,
Yeah.
right there.
Start singing the one song, the song that everyone remembers from the movie.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is more than
saying sorry.
She's like, no, it's okay because I forgive you now.
Yeah.
He's like, no, that's not.
I like the change at the end. She's like, I improved it. Forgiveness is more than saying sorry. Are you sorry? And that's the only fucking change in the song.
But yeah, so he's supposed to be flying her out. I forget where they're going.
They're supposed to be going to Paris.
They're going to Paris. It's like he's going to kind of wine and dine her and really get her to like want to sign this contract.
So what happens is she goes to heat up some food in the microwave in a Tupperware container, but in the Tupperware container, the food's wrapped in aluminum foil. And they have to emergency land the plane because she causes a fire.
Yeah. Well, the Tupperware said it was
The Tupperware said it was microwavable. Yeah, but the aluminum's not. And they land.
Is this a prank? Where's Ashton? Am I being punked?
And they land close to
New
Ryan
Jersey.
Reynolds'
Yeah,
hometown.
they're in New Jersey.
Yep.
So he's like, all right, until they get this plane, I guess I have to stay with my mom. His mom also she's literally playing the mom from fucking Better Off Dead. Like,
Yeah.
You know, like French fries, French toast, like so good, so kind of absent-minded. But yeah, the brother hates him.
Yep.
Like it's so clear.
It's such a love-hate, though.
It's such a love-hate.
Such a
but
love-hate.
he's so like, hey, here's my brother who's rich and famous and doesn't fucking visit the family for 10 years type attitude. And he's so fucking shameless that like he meets Anna Faris's character. He's like, he literally is like, I jerk to your brother every night. She goes, well, every night. He goes, yep, once just an hour ago. Like,
What at one point, like they're sitting on the bed, and Anna, like basically, so Ryan Reynolds puts his brother in charge of
handling
watching
her, yeah,
taking
like-
care of her, so he can go hang out with Amy Smart's character and try to have sex with her. Like
Yeah. That's all he wants.
that's
He wants
all
to hate fuck, essentially.
He wants to hate fuck Amy Smart because in his mind, he feels like he was friend zoned or he was led on, which he wasn't.
No.
He was not led on. One of my favorites is like, she's lonely and fucking horny. And she's like, how many times have you jerked off to my poster? And he goes, 8. 8? He goes, yeah, that's hot.
it's so good. The scenes with the two of them
So
are
good.
fucking amazing. But there's a line that my brother refers to all the time, and
Yeah.
now it's like the line I think of in this movie, which is at one point she has like a concussion. And
Yes!
Ryan Reynolds is like, what have you done to her? And she's like literally eating toothpaste. And he goes, she's fine. She's got her toothpaste.
She's fine. She's got her toothpaste. And she looks up, she's like, nom, nom, nom. And it's like the opening scene of Paranorman where the
God.
toothpaste is sticking all over her fucking mouth.
Fucking good. This movie's so funny. But then the movie is also like Ryan Reynolds, his intentions are slowly warming up because he's really falling for Amy Smart for who she is.
Yeah.
She's a good person. She like cares about her community.
Like to the point where they end up sleeping in a bed together and he's like, am I supposed to make a move?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And she is in her head going, will you make a fucking move,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah. Can you do something?
Exactly.
But so the
Again, communication is key. Please talk to each other.
The part that warms my soul, one of the other parts that makes me laugh is there's the scene where he wants to show her how great of an ice skater he is, so they agree to go ice skating, and the mom gets rid of his skates.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean you got rid of my skates? And she starts singing that song. She's like, be yourself. He's like, I don't want to be myself. And she walks away and he goes, oh, my snow globe collection.
I will say that the hockey scene was my least favorite part.
I hate the hockey scene.
Well, that was the big trailer part.
Oh, that was what they sold
the
this
trailer
movie on.
moments.
But so we'll get into, I hinted at this when we were watching stuff yesterday.
Yeah.
There is a scene in this movie that I have to look away for a split second.
Yeah.
And it's after the hockey scene, he gets hit in the face
Yeah.
with the hockey puck. And it cuts to them bringing him up this hill on the stretcher, and then they get distracted and he goes sliding down the hill.
Yeah.
And it's not, I'm fine with when he gets air, but he hits and gets air and flips upside down and lands on his face on the ice and skids. And I'm just like, ah! It's like the most painful thing I can fucking imagine.
So when he goes to play hockey and gets injured, the ambulance that picks him up, one of the ambulance workers is Chris Klein, who has gone from like this long-haired hippie dude to like this kind of jacked.
He's literally seen carrying Amy
guy.
Smart up a hill after she falls. Like he's like Superman.
Clean cut. Definitely, but he's coming across as that sensitive guy.
Yeah, he's him
he's
in
good
American
at guitar
Pie.
again. Yeah.
Oh, he's like shredding guitar.
Yeah. The whole movie becomes basically Ryan Reynolds' character versus Rusty.
Yeah.
And you're kind of thinking that Rusty's probably a dickhead, but that's confirmed way later in
the
movie.
Later. You get this incredible, I would say this incredible 10-minute scene that starts with the three-way phone call where he's trying to get Amy Smart to go see the Notebook with him. And his brother's making fun of him on the other line. Then the mom is on the other line. The mom gets invited to the trip. Chris Klein's coming with them. But then you also get them watching the movie, and the seating situation is putting him as far away from as far away from Amy Smart as possible, but right next to his mom. Yeah. So his mom is like holding his hand.
Just because Amy Smart and Chris Klein's characters are holding hands. And then they start holding hands. Oh my God. It's so fucking weird, man. It's so good. You know, him and his best friend's relationship reminds me of you and me.
Yeah.
Like I could see if we had grown up together and like were in this situation, I could totally see.
I'm trying to remember.
Doing some of that shit.
He says something to them when he first sees them in the bar, and I wish I could remember what it was. But it's like, it's such a geeky question. Like it's like if he walked up to him and was just like, "Hey, so what do you think was actually the best like Enterprise in the history of Star Trek?" Or like something random like that. Like, and the friend's turning around and goes, "Well, that's actually a really interesting question to pose." And then he's like, "Oh God, it's you!"
Yeah,
like, it's like he was going to answer that question if anybody.
Exactly, and that's what just made me think, like, dude, that's you and me, man. That's 100% you and me.
I feel like the last third of this movie I could live without. Like, I think the first hour is so fucking strong.
Yeah.
And then you get like the Anna Faris just completely coming unhinged.
So Anna Faris realizes what is happening, that he's been going off and hanging out with Amy Smart. And remember, Anna Faris is 100% convinced that they're together, that they are in a relationship. So she shows up to Amy Smart's parents' house
on Christmas
morning, where Amy Smart's parents have been known in the town as having the biggest Christmas display in the town.
And Anna Faris just fucking
destroys it. I mean, causes thousands of dollars in damage.
Awful. And like Ryan Reynolds is obviously on the hook for all of this.
Oh yeah,
like,
100%.
But yeah, so you get all that, and then
they fly back to LA.
You find out that Chris Klein's the douchebag.
Yeah,
he's singing the same song that he sings to everybody, flirting with like a girl.
There is a line that Ryan Reynolds says to Amy Smart that I'm like, I texted you and was like, haven't we always wanted to say that to somebody, though? I'm not saying it's not toxic as fuck to have said it, but I feel like it always has been something that we've wanted to say to people.
You have fun being the girl that peaked in high school?
Yeah. Yes. That's the one. So, like, maybe not to somebody like Jamie, but you know there are people you want to say that shit to.
Oh, yeah. No.
That shit kills me. And you have fun being the girl that peaked in high school. Fuck. Which is funny because we get that it's a very short bit, but we see the guy that was an asshole to him in high school, balding, still rocking his fucking Letterman jacket that he sees at the bus stop. So good. So honestly, when I finished watching this movie, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And now that we've sat here and talked about it, I'm like, I gotta rewatch that fucking thing.
It's got so many
It is
good
really
lines.
good. It's got some really good bits. Definitely not a movie that becomes a Christmas watch for me.
No. And that's why I think it's perfect for like a Valentine's Day episode.
But I will definitely be rewatching this multiple times I have a few friends that are absolutely obsessed with this movie. So, just friends. 2 thumbs way up for Dylan.
You know what, Dylan?
Yeah, sorry.
You're more than just a friend to me, buddy.
I want to make out with you too, Matt.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, whoa, oh, oh, now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holly, have a great, great, great holly, have a merry, 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 happy holiday.
Hey, do you have an idea for a podcast but don't know where to start? Or do you have an already existing podcast that you want to take to the next level? Well, check out WeKnowPodcasting.com. From concept development to theme music to editing to logos, WeKnowPodcasting.com is a one-stop shop for all things pod. Don't hesitate to hit us up. We're very nice.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.